What's going on, y'all? But that cigar, though. So, welcome back to the garage. It's been quite a while, and just wanted to give you guys an update on how championships went. So, story time. So, the truck, as you guys saw in one of my videos, broke down about 200 some miles from home. It was 3 hours away from my house, and it was 2 hours away from Pittsburgh. So, I'm fighting with AAA on the side of the road, and mind you, at this point, I have spent so much money getting to this point, so I'm kind of like having a little bit of a breakdown because I have the money in my pocket to go and pay for a tow if need be and figure things out, but like I am stretched real thin at this point with preparation for champs. And the goal this year was spare no cost, do things to the best of my ability in every single sense of the word, whether it be work ethic, whether it be budgeting, whether it be creative solutions, everything, logistics, anything. Luckily, I got some amazing friends, and I'm still always going to shout out to my friends, even if it's the highs or the lows. I'm always going to shout out to Any Paddock and all the people who always help me because, like, big time, like, they are like saviors, So Alex Herman came through. He's my boy. He said, so he drove 2 hours from Pitt with his Suburban. He came and he picked up my trailer and my car and me, and we left the truck in an abandoned parking lot. Drive up to Pittsburgh, and we had scheduled test days on Monday and Tuesday with Hooked on Driving, and we just played with the cars for 2 days straight. We played with brake pads, we played with alignments, we played with everything. Alex took care of figuring out the Airbnb we were going to stay at. He brought so many spares with him. He brought all these tools, and so he really made this effort happen. All my friends really made this effort happen, and so I was just super thankful, and I still am super thankful for that opportunity to have such great people around me. Championships comes around, and I took some old tires and put them on the front of the car and on the rear of the car, and I flipped the front tires because that track is really tough on tires. Ended up just driving really slow lap times all day on Thursday, and I was just kind of in a negative headspace. Friday we go out, and I put some stickers on that car, and it hooked up. I set a flyer, qualified P1. The first qualifying session, it was damp in front of Lee, and then Brian Schanfeld ended up qualifying in front of me. John Baker qualified behind me, and so I was starting P2 for the qualifying race. So I went to bed, we kind of took a break finally, drank some beers, and my crew arrived, and man, it was crazy having a crew. You know that I do everything on my own, right? I mean, I have a Schrader valve on my brake boot, my brake master cylinder, for God's sake, so I can bleed my brakes on my own. And it was just I set up a Google Doc and so an email chain, and I invited 4 or 5 people who I really trusted, with the logic being I knew that half of them would probably fall off. One of my friends couldn't make it because of work, Nate Bookbinder, and then my buddy Diego had to leave early for the race, and Mike Baldridge was there, huge help. He was helping other racers as well. Already we had some of the resources diluted, and that's kind of why I invited so many people. But I had my buddy Sam Pickford there, and my crew chief Emmanuel Hernandez, and Emmanuel was just unreal. Having Emmanuel kind of changed the game for me because he works for a race shop up in North Jersey, and you saw in one of my videos, he corner balanced and aligned the car. He has experience crewing for people in much fancier cars than a Honda. And his strategy was just next level. It was so amazing. I've never been surrounded by so many competent people who are willing to help me, so much loyalty. And I felt like an imposter for a lot of the weekend. I was running up front with some of the OGs of Honda Challenge, like John Baker and Jeremy Lucas and Brian Schanfeld and all these guys who just are super fast drivers with super fast cars. And I was just kind of blew my mind. When I went to bed on Friday night, woke up in the morning on Saturday, I wasn't in a super good headspace. I was not super confident in myself. I was feeling kind of off kilter. And so first thing I did in the morning was I went for a 2-mile run. Race came around, and I got a good start on the race, and was racing Baker for P1 at some point, and then I played chicken with him in the outside into turn 1, which is exactly what my crew chief was saying not to do. And I ended up going off, and so I finished that quali race third as a result. And my crew chief and everybody around me was like, just keep your head down and just keep pushing, and good things will come in the main race if you just have faith. So then a little bit later that night, we were all hanging out watching videos, and my buddy TJ Yard calls, and he used to run a lot with NASA. He used to support the Casellas, who are like the main family that are there, like the direct. Joe Casella's like the race director for NASA Northeast, and his sons run the events as well, and also race. And he knows a lot. He grew up around dirt track racing and stuff. And he called me, and he's like was just talking me through this and like getting me in the right headspace. And I woke up on Sunday just kind of like feeling like amazing. Emmanuel's prepping the car. I told him I needed an alignment change in the rear, so we got that done. And then, he's like, "Good, drive it around." So I drive it around, and in the morning he had said, "Your AFRs are really high when it's idling. It doesn't seem normal." And so I drive the car around, and sure enough, it's really high. Bring it back to the paddock spot, and he's like, "I think I found your problem." So he points to the header, and there's a big crack around the collector of the header, which is like one of the worst spots, and I think it was from when I went off on Saturday. So Manuel gets the car in the air. I talk to Sam Pickford. I talk to Mike Baldridge, and I say I need a welder. Right? I go to Jack Cabetto from NASA Mid Atlantic. I'm like, "Yo, I need a welder." Gives me a flux core welder, but it's like kind of iffy. It doesn't really have enough heat in it to make good welds. And then Mike Baldridge comes back with this full-on cart from a Thunder Roadster guy, and it's a Lincoln welder, and I'm like, "That's great." And so I get the header in front of me. I had brought my cutoff wheel with me, so I'm grinding the metal down, just flipping it down and welding. And so we got the header all fixed up and threw it in the car, and then Emmanuel goes to me and he says, "You're not touching the car anymore." I know there's a lot of other people that do their own work too, so I'm not trying to detract from that, but when you have someone helping you, it's amazing. I've never really felt it to that level. So yeah, again, so much props, guys. Thank you so much for helping me, and it was dope. Then we go out for the race on Sunday. It's like we're the last race of the day, and I kind of sit in my car and say a prayer to God and just kind of give myself the sign of the cross and just imagine myself driving. Really, I was in such a good headspace and went out, and I got a killer start. Went down into turn one. I maintained third for a while, for at least the first lap, and then Baker squeezed Schanfeld onto turn three, and Schanfeld went off, so I was now P2. Then, unfortunately for me, there was a full course caution after that, and we were behind all the Thunder Roadsters, so Baker kind of built up a gap behind the Thunder Roadsters during the caution lap. And then as soon as he started to go, I started to go because my comms had died. They died. I had no comms. My crew chief was like saying things. I can't hear anything. So I'm like, I'm just going to use my ears and watch Baker. So he starts going. I'm like, all right, it's time to go. And sure enough, it happened. And then I got swarmed. Like it was like, so we close in on Thunder Roasters, and it's just Lee Wamble and Jeremy Lucas just all over me. Lee tries to get by me on the outside, and I kind of put my car in the middle. And then when I turn in, Lee goes off a little bit, comes back on. Lucas now comes up. And we go 3 wide into 3. And then, like going straight, and Lucas is over here, and I'm like, turn a little bit, and then I feel I'm like, oh God. But then Lee falls back, Lucas gets ahead of me, and yeah, I kind of like stayed behind Lucas for a little bit, and I was just like, okay, here. So like I set up a pass, and right at the end of the S's, I just kind of like, put my nose in and was able to get by. But so I held on a second for a good portion of the race. I was in second until like 10 minutes left before the race ended. And then I go into the last corner before the main straight, and I hit the brakes and, go for my shift, and the clutch just goes straight to the floor. And I'm like, are you serious? But, I can honestly say that I'm not ashamed of my performance. I'm proud of my performance. I gave it everything I had. Anything I touched on the car became more reliable. Anything I touched on the car became better. And I still haven't figured out why this failed. I don't know if it's clutch master, if it's pressure plate. Yeah, it was just like a random weird failure, I mean, it's something you could maybe foresee if you have an old car like this put on a rotisserie and you're, replacing everything on it, but it's kind of like not a lot of people are doing that. And then the truck, same thing. Like I talked about it in one of my other videos, it just kind of blew up. Like it was really weird. Like I didn't get any warnings from the gauges, and it just died. And that was one of the best maintained tow vehicles I've ever had. Like I took really good care of that thing. So all of the upsets this weekend were challenging, but my team and I, we overcame it because we're hungry. We went out there, we had an open trailer with a tire rack, and we're going up against guys with RVs and enclosed trailers and 2-car trailers. You know, Honda is helping Team Honda Racing and stuff. We just were hungry. You know, we wanted it, and we did so well. And I'm so proud of everyone who helped me and everyone who came and everyone who made the effort with me. And I can't say I could have done anything better. Kind of gutted a little bit, but at the same time, like, I'm grateful that I had the experience. So, you know, I was talking to Jackie, and she's like, I hope this isn't the end of EJ2 Track Rat. And yeah, I was like, I hope not either. It's just an expensive hobby. I need backing. Like, I need, like, a partner. I need sponsors. And granted, Jackie came on and helped with the coaching this year. It helped a lot. And Brian came on and helped from PCI, Pro Car Innovations, but it was tough to eke out. It was tough to eke out. So I'm hoping I can secure something for next year. I'd like to wrap the car. So if someone wants to wrap the car, or, you know, wants to do body work in the car, that'd be super cool. Or, you know, I'd like to get like an engine shop or something and really work with people. But future plans are kind of gray right now. I'm sort of more in like a holding pattern, more like just kind of lost in a way, you know, because I spent all this time working so hard to win championships, and I had it like there, you know, like even if I didn't get first, I would have been second, and that would have been pretty amazing. And it didn't happen, you know. It was like, and sometimes things happen like that. Now I feel like, you know, what do I do? Like, my life has been work, school, go in garage, work, school, go in the garage, work, school, go in the garage for months. And now it's like, I feel like that guy, that meme, the guy standing, you know, like, what do I do? I had to tow my car home with a U-Haul, and that was not fun. That U-Haul was a turd. And then, you know, the truck, I had to get that towed home by AAA and pay all the tolls for that. And so between tolls and the extra 20 miles I needed to pay for my AAA Premier, it was like $350 for the truck, $800, you know, $500 some for the U-Haul. It just killed me, man. It was a lot. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't even know what I'm gonna do or where I'm at with this, really, other than just taking a break and recouping some funds, which is kind of a given. But one thing I can say is that this Champs run showed me just how capable of a human being I am. So I think that a lot of us think that we've gotten to that level where we really unlock it. But this was the longest, most concerted, and well thought out effort I have ever undertaken since I was in chemical engineering school. It was just discipline on every front. You know, you want to get a coffee machine. We're not getting a coffee machine. It's not for the racing program. You want to fix your phone. We're not getting a phone. That's for the racing program. Everything, man. And it just, I'm so grateful for the experience, because it taught me that, one, I'm really good at this hobby, but then also, two, like, if I can work this hard at this program with this car and develop a nationally competitive H2 car on a budget in 2 years, what else can I do, right? The amount of money and time I spend on this car kind of, and racing in general, kind of doesn't make sense to not figure out a way to take advantage of some business situation for this. And, you know, I think this weekend I might start a business plan to potentially open up a shop. I've been, you know, punting this idea around for a while, and it's pretty well thought out from a threat perspective and from an opportunity perspective, and I would like to get it on paper to see if I could find some investors, you know. And it's just because, you know, like, it's something I'm passionate about, you know. If I could take home similar to what I make nowadays, you know, and then just accumulate assets with the shop that I could use for the program, and then have the tax benefits associated with that, assuming it's all legal, right? I'm not trying to commit fraud. That would be great. That would help me a lot, because right now, you know, I'm paying all the taxes on all the transportation and all that stuff, and if I could figure something out, you know, that would be ideal. You know, a lot of people say that racing is a waste of money. Racing to me is like an investment in oneself. Like, you go racing, and I learned so much stuff about politics this weekend. I learned so much stuff about how people think about things. I learned about what people say in different situations. I learned how to read people. I walked into this a little bit naive, a little bit green, but you best damn believe that the next time I come back out to a championships, I'm winning. It's gonna happen. And it's not an ego thing. It's not calling anyone's bluff, but it's gonna happen. Like, it's just gonna happen. So yeah, I'm blessed, honestly, and I'm so grateful for my friends and everything. Yeah, anyway, y'all, your support has been freaking dope. Like, you know, 80 episodes in, 81, 82 episodes in, and y'all are still watching this. Yeah, I appreciate every single one of you, strangers, friends, whatever. So this cigar is for y'all, and thanks for watching.